He might tell it differently, but
she will probably try to twist it a little bit. So
we were actually at Trolley Square at a bar.
I met a couple of my friends, and when I walked in, I see the two of them, and they're talking to Lex, and I didn't know her at the time.
He thought I was a different person. He thought I was a different girl.
I thought she was another friend of ours, so I went up to my friends and was making my grand entrance, and I went up behind Lex, and I put my arm around her or put my hands on her shoulders or something, and I said something stupid to my friends who, if Lex was the girl I thought she was, it wouldn't have been embarrassing or anything, but it turns out it was Lex.
Came up behind me and hugged me from behind without even knowing who he was. I was like, who is this guy?
I didn't know her, so she kind of ran away, scared. And my friends looked at me and like, dude, you scared her away. And I was like, well, oh well, who cares?
So later that night, he eventually introduced himself to me.
As she was getting ready to leave, I was standing next to the car she was in. The window was down, she was sitting in the seat right there, so I just started talking to her, and we convinced her and her friends to go meet us at another bar. So everyone gets out of the car, they start walking, and me and Lex are kind of behind. And we had just met, so we were just casually talking. And she's gonna say this didn't happen, but she grabbed my arm and she said, come on, let's go, and linked arms with me, and we kept walking.
But I didn't mean it in any sort of way. I was just, hey, come on, let's go with the group of us.
Immediately thought she was interested. I mean, why wouldn't she be? Well, at the end of the night, she left with her arm locked with mine. So I think it was.
That's not what happened.
I was there.
Okay. So was I. And me being who I am, grabbed him like this. Come on, let's go with the group of us. But I guess
there was no group of us. They were way up ahead. She waited on purpose.
No, I did not. But that's what you want to think.
Well, here we are now.
True.
So my birthday is 3 days before hers. So for my birthday, we went to the beer garden on the riverfront.
I was with my cousin at the time, and all of a sudden I see Nick and his whole family come in, and I didn't know that his whole family was going to be there. So of course, I'm like, oh my God, but I don't want to say the wrong things. And he came right up to me, kissed me in front of everybody. And then ever since then, I've been close with his family. He's been very close with my family. I believe the same weekend on my birthday, we went to Constitution Yards.
My understanding is that I was meeting up with you and a couple other people.
But really, my whole family was there.
Well, it turns out when I walk in, she says, I have somebody I want you to meet. So I said, okay. I assume it's like a parent or cousin or whatever. Turns out to be parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, everything. So I looked to my friend who was with me, and I just said, I guess at this point I'm locked in. I can't go anywhere now. I already know everybody.
I met yours that weekend, so you had to meet mine.
Fair.
So.
For her, it was everyone. I don't know if you were trying to trick me or not, but.
I don't think I was trying to trick you. It was just when you meet one person in my family, it's like you have to meet all of them.
I'm now very aware of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even my grandparents were there. And of course, they're like, what's your last name? And he said Catalano. And of course, a light bulb goes off and they're like, you're Italian. My grandparents, when they hear an Italian last name, they tell you what part of Italy that they're from, which is funny because with all the Italian last names, like how could you know? And my grandparents said exactly where his grandparents were from, just by the last name. My grandparents, straight off the boat of Italy. They came when I believe I want to say teenage years. They came over. They moved into the city of Wilmington. My grandfather worked at a bakery, and I believe my grandmother's dad also worked there, and that's how they met each other. So they lived in Little Italy in Wilmington. And it's funny because when they heard Nick's last name, they knew exactly where Nick's great-grandparents lived in the city of Wilmington. I have a tattoo. It was my first tattoo. It's "Family is Forever" in Italian. The cancer ribbon is for my dad. He had melanoma in 2013. And then the Roman numerals are my grandparents' wedding anniversary. And I had to hide this from my grandfather for months. And then the first time he saw it, he said, "What's on your arm?" in this thick Italian accent. I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he was like, "Show me it." So he saw it, and he really, I don't know if there was tears in his eyes, but he really loved it. And then when I explained to him the Roman numerals, it really touched him, I guess you can say. Yeah, so there it is. That's my little tattoo for my family.
Having Italian background in my family, it's always been important to me when it comes to spending time with family and having, you know, traditional Italian dinners and being able to experience that growing up. And so when I first met her and knew that, you know, and learned that her family was from Italy and they did Sunday dinners and they did all of these things that, you know, I got to experience when I was younger. A lot of my side of the family that's Italian is on my dad's side, and a lot of them, you know, they are either no longer with us or I just never had a chance to meet them. So meeting her and seeing her family, it definitely kind of helped fill, you know, what I wasn't really experiencing to the same level with my family. And it's great with my family, it's just there's less of them to kind of have those experiences and traditions with now than when I was younger.
I think what drew my attention to Nick is that he's very family oriented. First time I brought Nick to Sunday dinner, it was in the summertime, so they call it their own type of barbecue. What they mean by barbecue is hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill, but also a full pot of pasta and of course antipasto, salads, salami, cheeses. Food and drinks play a huge role in the relationship.
I just realized after meeting her family and her meeting my family, I was just like, this just feels like it's right. I probably was not ready in my own head for a relationship, but when she came around, it totally just switched, and I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying it, so why wouldn't I want to keep it going? I always told myself that my next relationship would be my last, not because just choosing that, just because I knew if I was going to get into another relationship, it would have to be somebody that I could see myself marrying. It was just pretty early on that I realized I was probably going to end up marrying her. When we were looking for a house, we looked at a bunch of houses, and eventually it got to a point where we were like on total opposite ends of what we wanted, and it was leading to disagreements, and nothing major, but just enough where we decided maybe we should just wait. But then our realtor basically showed us a house that is actually right across the street, and while we were there, we didn't really love it, but had some potential, and then he said, why don't we just check out this one across the street? It's the same house, it's just empty, it's a little older. So we came, looked at it, we loved it immediately, and then ended up buying it, so it worked out.
After we had all of the renovations done with the house, of course we planned like a housewarming party. But little did I know, it was my engagement party. So all of our family, all of our friends came over, me thinking it was a housewarming party, but that day, Nick wouldn't like stand near me. He was pacing back and forth.
It's nerve-wracking.
Everybody's eating, and Nick's like, come on, let's go thank everybody for being here. So like, okay, yeah, sure. So we're all standing in the backyard, and Nick's like doing his little pacing back and forth, and all of a sudden, everybody started getting their cameras out, like taking pictures. And I was like, this is, something's up. Like, it's just a girl's intuition. Like, they know right away. And he was like, we had these little signs, I guess you can
Threw
say.
everything off. Threw everything off.
We had these little signs, like housewarming, our house, whatever. And Nick's aunt was like, here, let's take a picture with them. So I was like, okay, sure. And Nick's like shaking, going to pick this sign up. And I'm like, what is going on? And I don't even know what you said. But then I turn around and he's on one knee. And of course, everybody's still filming.
So I knew that the only way I could ever keep it a secret from you, because of how nosy you are.
I am very nosy.
I knew the only way I could keep it a secret was to plan a party and let her plan the party, but I was secretly planning it myself for the engagement portion. And I mean, pretty much everything she said, I was running all over the place that day because I was nervous about her finding out, because I know her, and I was shocked I was able to hide it for that long already. And the props that were there, my whole thing was my aunt, her aunt, were gonna take pictures of us just together after we thanked everybody, because I figured that would seem relatively natural. Just, they both like to take pictures, and we just were standing there by ourselves talking, so I figured it would make sense. Hey, just take a couple pictures. And I had the ring in my right pocket. And what I was gonna do was start taking a picture with her and then talk to her and pull it out. So when these props got involved, my aunt said, pick up these props. And I was like, I need both my hands. I don't know what to do. I need one to grab the ring and, one to open it. So like she said, I'm shaking, I had no idea what to do. I was scrambling. And she's like, just pick one. It's not that big a deal. And so I picked one, and I was like, you know what, forget it. And I just threw it down. And I said something to her, not leading to the proposal, just telling her to look at me or something. And she's like, stop. And I was like, stop what? She's like, don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's what I do.
And she goes, oh, okay, and then turns back around.
No.
Yes, you did. Well, looked at the camera, you didn't turn around. But yeah, she thought something was up, and then, yeah, right when she was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong, then I just popped the question. It didn't take much convincing either.
He's very compassionate. He's family oriented. He's patient with me because I could be stubborn at times, and he's very patient. He is very outgoing and adventurous. If I say, let's go here, one morning I wake up, I just say, I want to go here for the day. He's like, okay, pack your bag, let's go.
She is definitely outgoing, but I also like that she's very strong and confident in who she is. She doesn't need me to make her more comfortable with herself, I guess. She just is naturally, and I think that's really great, because I'm kind of the same way, where we obviously want to make each other better and help each other, and we do that. But the best part is that it's so easy for us to just be that way and support each other in that way. So I definitely think she's very strong and confident in who she is. She's definitely a lot of fun. Just anything we're doing, it's never, I'm never bored being around her. But I said 4 nice words, so I guess she's stubborn. She's very stubborn. More stubborn than me, and I'm pretty stubborn. But it's okay, it's funny, so I always make fun of her for it. I don't have to change for her, she doesn't have to change for me, and we both are stubborn, so we can definitely
But I'm more
butt heads.
stubborn.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
very stubborn
prime example. So we can sometimes butt heads, but the best part is that we just get each other so well that we don't ever get mad. We just laugh about it and
Right.
make fun of each other, just messing around, and
Yeah.
it's that's how it should be.
Easy.
I don't want to be stressed.
No.
You know me, I don't get stressed. I think we overall do a pretty good job of communicating with each other and making sure we always understand each other so that we don't get into any sort of situation where our relationship's on the line. And I think that's really important to me when it comes to marriage because I don't want to get married twice. I'm marrying her because I want to be with her, and I don't want to be with anybody else, or else I wouldn't marry her. So there were some particular times that, you know, things were not agreed on, and that's normal. And I think the best part is that we just find a way to work through them, or at least, you know, diffuse any situation and come back to it. And we have been pretty well off with our relationship because of that.
I'm excited to get married and that we're going to start a new journey together. So, yeah.
Lex, I am looking forward to our future together, our family that we'll eventually have, with probably another dog or two. Probably just one, but I'm looking forward to having kids. I'm looking forward to eventually, you know, finding our forever home. You know, I know that we both want to eventually do more and be able to, you know, have a bigger house, have a family, have all of that, and there's just nobody else I would rather go through that with than you. And I'm very happy to be marrying you and being able to go through all of those things. I mean, it's going to be a lot of good times. There will probably be some difficult times, but I'll always have your back, and I know you'll always have mine, and I'm just really looking forward to it. Lex, last thing, I just want to tell you I love you forever, and I just can't wait to marry you. I'm really excited.